Well, hey there, it's Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, but you can call me Pajama Grandma. In case we haven't met yet, go and put hashtag pajama in the comments below. So I know it's the first time you are hearing my voice, seeing my face, or being exposed to the Pajama Grandma. As you can see, I'm still in my pajamas, sipping my coffee, and thinking about great questions, incredibly powerful questions to help you supersize your business. I find myself using these questions all the time as I'm growing and building my businesses. I have in the past, and I continue to use them today. And yesterday I was just pondering, well, what would be a great value to give people, a great tool that anybody can use anytime. You don't need any money, you don't need any energy, you don't need any time to be able to ask yourself these questions and just have them in your back pocket whenever you need them so that you can be growing and supersizing your business in whatever way makes sense for you. So these are not in any particular order. I just brainstormed the questions. One of the first questions I like to ask myself is, well, what do I want? I have to know what I'm going for and what I'm shooting for. I have to know what the target is if I'm ever going to acquire or achieve what it is that I want. So I have got to go ahead and ask myself, what do I want? That's the first question that I ask myself. Because a lot of times we'll be in situations and things will be happening around us and we feel like things aren't going right. We want to focus on what's going wrong. And instead of focusing on what's going wrong, if we focus on what we want, that'll always move us toward that. So what do I want is a terrific question and one that almost nobody asks themselves, not only in business, but outside of business as well. Question number 2 that I like to ask myself when I'm faced with a situation that might be challenging or trying is, what else is possible? What else do I need to do? Or what else could I possibly do besides having the dog bark at me in order to resolve this situation? Now, I'm probably going to have to get up and walk away and take and let her outside. So we're going to go on a little journey, which always makes videoing entertaining, right? The walking and the talking at the same time. Because you get this great big picture of my face. Very scary, I know. All right, you girls going outside? Letting the dogs out with Sharon. That's our Pajama Grandma. That's always fun. Okay, girls, behave. I see you in a few minutes. I may have to learn how to edit video. That's just some craziness when I have to stop and let the dogs out. But it's that or they will bark at me until I let them out. So we can have a little disruption and we can try to put my camera back without, or my camera is my phone. Let's be honest. My camera is my cell phone. But that's another example of you just do what you got to do to get the next thing done. You deal with the situation when it comes up, you let the dogs out, you solve the problem, you move on, you get a new vendor, you just deal with it because there's so many other possibilities. There's actually infinite possibilities and infinite different ways of doing whatever it is that we want to accomplish. And there's always, I believe there's always a faster, better, easier, more efficient, and more effective way to do absolutely anything any of us do. We just haven't discovered it yet. So what else is possible is another great question to ask yourself. The third question I like to ask myself, and this one came out of a very trying time for me, is what am I creating now? A few years ago, I had a sudden cardiac arrest and died. And in the hospital, my family, when I was in a coma, and they were, circulating frozen, chilling my blood and things and freezing me so I wouldn't have organ and brain damage. My family was actually making wagers on what my first words were going to be when I woke up, because I guess they figured I would wake up and I would be fine, which I did. And I appreciate them praying and helping to make that happen, because the vast majority of the people in a situation like that do not wake up and they are not fine. So that miracle is not lost on me. I'm extremely grateful for that fact every single day. But of course, the first words out of my mouth were, what the fuck? Because I had no idea where I was or what had happened. And my family had been betting that that would be my first words, and they were right. And I realized a few weeks later, after, trying to figure out what had happened and to try to make sense of things, that was a really telling sign that those were my first words. My entire life at that time was, what the fuck? Everything that was going on. And it was a very tumultuous time in my life, but I kept asking that question over and over and over again in my head. And my life in all the chaos kept answering it and giving me one more thing to be astounded by how ridiculous it was that it could be actually happening and showing up in my life. And so I realized, thank you, Tony Robbins, and whoever else teaches this, that I needed to ask myself a better question. And I replaced that what the fuck question with, what am I creating now? Knowing that I am a powerful creator, and what I think about and what I dwell on and what I focus on, I create. I knew I needed to pick a better question, because what the fuck is not a good question. It is not an empowering question. It automatically presupposes that things are wrong and bad and out of control. Not a good way to look at your life or the situations in your life or your businesses. So I replaced it with, what am I creating now? When I ask, what am I creating now? If I'm having a conversation with somebody and it's going south a little bit, what am I creating now? Am I creating a good relationship with this person that I want to continue? Or am I creating more friction and more drama? If I lose a supplier at work and I get all worried about it and concerned that I'm not going to be able to find that raw material somewhere, what am I creating? I'm creating more lack and more scarcity and more possibility that I won't be able to find a replacement source. And I always can. There's always another source of anything we want in the universe. So I love the question, what am I creating now? Knowing that, I create everything first in my mind and my imagination, and then I create it in my world. So I want to make sure that I'm creating things the way I want them to be, not the way I don't want them to be. And then another really good question that I ask myself is, who does blank? Meaning, who does something that I want to do or want to accomplish for my business? I used to always ask, well, how am I going to get this done? Or how can I? Which is the next question, by the way. How can I is a terrific question. Instead of thinking, I can't or this isn't possible, I always think, how can I get this done? How can I afford a $50,000 investment in a new piece of equipment? How can I figure out how to take advantage of a new coach that's come on the field that teaches exactly what I need next for my business? How can I get the resources that I need to do whatever it is that I want? So now let's go back to who does blank. Instead of me trying to figure out, because in the past, I always would say, I got to figure this out. I have to do it myself. I would try to figure out everything. I studied every subject with respect to growing my business over the last 4 decades, and many of them in mass detail. And recently I discovered that I don't have to know everything. I'm not going to ever know everything. And I don't even want to know everything. There's a lot of stuff I studied that I can't stand. It's so boring. And there's people that love the things that I don't love to do. So instead of saying, I have to go learn this, let's use chatbots, for example. I am fascinated by chatbots. I would love to go learn about them, but it's a deviation from what I'm doing and what I really need to do with what I'm growing for my business and how I'm supersizing my business. So I will go to an expert and let them help me with chatbots or teach me the shortcut version of chatbots, because I don't need to know everything. I'm not going to build them for people. I'm not going to teach people how to use them. If somebody comes to me and wants me to help them supersize their business and chatbots are a great strategic part of their plan, we're going to hook them up with the person that can be the resource for that. They don't have to learn how to do it. I don't have to learn how to do it, but I do still get access to that information and can help people supersize their business with it without having to know all the details myself. The cool thing and the bad thing about it being we're coming right out of the information age, is that there's so much information available. Anyone can absolutely positively learn to do anything they want to. But the truth is, we shouldn't learn to do things. We shouldn't learn to do everything. We should ask, who does this and who can I get to shortcut my learning curve or to actually just do it for me? So that's another really great empowering question that helps you to supersize your business. Another one I really like is, what is the most important thing for me to be doing right now? What is the highest, best use of my personal time right this very instant? And the sister question to that is, what is the next thing that I need to do or set in motion to supersize my business? Those are kind of sister questions because they tell me that I know what I need to do next. I just have to pick that next thing and start doing it and taking action toward it. And they also tell me that I need to be making sure that I am not working in my business. I'm working on my business and I'm doing the tasks that I am particularly suited for with respect to everything in my business. For example, in the way I'm operating my business right now, I have to create my own content. I am Pajama Grandma. I am the creator of the content and the information that I share with people on how to supersize their business. That's one step I have to do. I do not, however, have to edit, process, share, distribute, transcribe, or do anything else to my videos. I just have to produce the content. That is the highest, best use of my time. And other people are brought on board to then disseminate and deal with and clean up my content. That is the highest and best use of their skills and their time. Another question I love to ask when I'm thinking about supersizing and working on supersizing my business is, and it's usually when a belief or a thought or a limitation or a challenge comes up, I ask myself, who does this belong to? Say I get a thought about, I'm afraid to contact some business about, do they want to work with me? And I ask myself, well, who does that fear belong to? Because normally that fear doesn't belong to me at all. I know that what I can do can really help them and can help them to really shorten their learning curve and whatever it is that they're trying to do to grow and supersize their business. So if I have a little bit of fear or false belief coming up about, well, who do I think I am to call that business? Who do I think I am to work with them? I ask myself, who does that belong to? Where did that belief come from? Because it might not even be mine. It might be my son's belief or my daughter's belief or my son-in-law's belief or my ex-husband's belief or my sister's or my dad's or my mom's or somebody else's belief that they told me a long time ago, who do you think you are to do that? And I adopted that thinking that that was right and true for me, even though it doesn't and it didn't ever belong to me. I just decided to believe what they said. Another question I love to ask is, how can I serve? How can I give more to the people that it is that I am here to serve? I believe that we're all here to give value to the planet and the universe and the world. I believe we all have some gifts that we need to be giving in order to receive the things that we want in our life. We need to give to other people and serve other people. Nobody creates a supersized business in a vacuum. Nobody is successful all by themselves or in a vacuum. So I love to wake up and ask, well, what can I teach people today? Like what these questions, serving is just a matter of sharing these questions that I've discovered that have really helped me to move forward in my life and to help me to grow and build my businesses. So just sharing these questions is one way that I can serve. And I usually wake up every morning, I'm like, well, what can I teach people today? What can I serve? How can I serve today? How can I do the best job possible on the coaching calls I have today? How can I help move my mastermind group ahead? How can I help each person in that group be more, have more, and do more of what they want right now? So I like to ask, how can I serve? How can I give? Because the more we give, the more we get in return. And keep in mind that it won't always be the person that we're serving that we get the value back in terms of what we give out proportionally. Oftentimes we give, and we are given and we receive in return from totally different sources than those that we actually give to. Then the last question that I like to ask myself and I like to remember is this thing I'm thinking about doing, is this thing I'm going to say, is this thing I'm going to do, is this thing I'm thinking about, am I coming from, what's my intention? Am I coming from a position of love or am I coming from a position of fear? Am I acting out of love or am I acting out of fear? If I'm ever acting out of fear, I stop myself immediately. I breathe. I ask myself, who does this belong to? What's going on here? Why would I ever respond out of fear or jealousy or any other negative emotion? I always want to be responding and acting out of love, because love and impact are what the Pajamagram is all about. I'm all about making the world a better place, one business at a time, one person at a time, one family at a time, one individual at a time, one little bit at a time, because I know that my biggest impact comes from helping others to have their greatest impact. So those are my 10 questions. I always like to say, keep a couple of things in mind. Realize with 100% certainty that you are enough. You are perfect, complete, and whole exactly as you are right now to have, do, and be whatever you want. And I also like to remind myself that I'm always a work in process. I will never be done. I'm continually getting better and better at doing all that it is that I do. And remind yourself that too. We're going to all make mistakes. We're going to all screw up. We're going to all say or do the wrong thing. We're going to act in silly, fearful ways sometimes. But as long as we learn and grow beyond that experience and learn from that experience, it's all good. We're a work in progress, and we'll get to where we want to go as long as we keep taking one step in front of the other, one step at a time, a little bit every day to move us toward what it is that we want, and we will succeed. So those are some of my favorite questions for supersizing my business. I hope you find them useful. Go ahead, comment below your favorite question or add questions that you like to ask yourself when it comes to building and growing your business. That's it. Have a fantastic day. I'm going to go let those dogs back in. Pajama Grandma out. Bye.